Hey girls and gals, welcome back to my channel. My name is Taylor and today's video is going to be a book haul. I have purchased a lot of books recently. I'd say a good half of them are from Barnes & Noble. Just some new releases that I was very much looking forward to. And then the other half I've gotten secondhand from Pango. Not sponsored or anything, but I have been very into Pango recently just because I have not found the greatest secondhand shop in my area yet, and that's where I primarily like to search for older books and purchase books. So I have been shopping a lot on Pango. So I would say this book haul is about half secondhand, half purchased brand new. So very excited about it. Let's just get into the haul and talk about all of the wonderful books that I've picked up recently. Starting off with the brand new stack, all of these were purchased from Barnes & Noble, and from this stack I would say a good half were ones that I pre-ordered, and then the other ones were ones that I kind of picked up on a whim because sometimes it's fun to go to the bookstore with no particular agenda in mind. So that first one is one that I stumbled across. I already have the first volume in this set, and that would be the Pretty Guardian Sailor Moon Eternal Edition. This is volume 2. I have the first one. Loved Sailor Moon as a kid. I've read quite a few of the mangas. I can't remember if I ever finished the manga as a kid, but I did watch the anime as well, so I'm collecting these really pretty Eternal editions. So that was the first one I picked up. Definitely want to try and get to it soon because, again, I read them quite a long time ago, so it'd be fun to revisit this. This next one was a cover buy, and since then I've been hearing really good things about it, so I'm very excited to pick it up. And that would be Monstrilio by Geraldo Samano Cordova, and this is a horror about a woman who loses her son and takes a part of his body. I believe it's an organ, a piece of his lung, and she nurtures the lung until it gains sentience. So very interesting, the type of horror I'm really into. And I loved this cover, a cute little guy down there. Definitely a cover buy that I saw in the horror section and wanted to get, and I've been hearing really great things about it. So I'm very excited to pick this one up soon as well. And then the next couple were all pre-orders, and I have managed to finish the first one on the list, Are You Tired of Hearing Me Talk About a Day of Fall Night by Samantha Shannon yet, because I loved it. Already read this one and really enjoyed it. This is definitely going to be one of my favorite books of the year. Epic fantasy in a feminist queer normative world. There are dragons, there are plagues. We follow an amazing variety of main characters. Can't say enough good things about Samantha Shannon and her writing. So yes, already finished this, absolutely love it. I haven't gotten to this next book yet, but I have read the rest of the trilogy, so I do need to pick this one up soon, and that would be The Bone Shard War by Andrea Stewart, the third book in the Drowning Empire series, the first one being The Bone Shard Daughter. I have really been enjoying this series. If you like fantasy in an Asian-inspired world, like there are a bunch of different connected islands, so if you like sea travel, if you like magic systems that are a little bit horror-esque, because the main magic system in here is bone shard magic, which you have to take a piece of bone out of the skull of someone to use. So if you're interested in that and just some intrigue and potentially like apocalyptic sort of civil wars as well, highly recommend this fantasy series. I'm excited to dive into the third and final installment. The last two were such a delight. The audiobook, I believe, is like full cast, or not full cast, but there are different narrators for every single point of view. So highly recommend checking out this series if you need a new fantasy series to start, because I really enjoy it. And magical animal companions as well. There are some really good ones in here. I usually have the opposite problem when filming, of the sun just doesn't want to come out when I'm filming, and now it like really wants to come out. So if I'm squinting during any of this, it's because my eyes cannot handle the bright sunlight. But yeah, it's a good problem to have, but definitely it's a bright day. So if I'm squinting, that's why. I'm not a creature of the sun. And then the last book that I've purchased new and I'm actually in the middle of right now is One for My Enemy by Olivia Blake. This is a Romeo and Juliet retelling, and it follows two rival witch families in New York. So if you like Olivia Blake's very toxic almost sort of romances, not toxic, but like it's a very interesting dynamic that she's good at portraying. If you like those sort of relationship dynamics, if you enjoy her magic building, if you enjoy Romeo and Juliet and you ever wondered what would this be like but with more magic and magical creatures, then that's what this book is. So I'm in the middle of it and I am quite enjoying it so far, and this is the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition. I don't know if you can tell from my shelves back there. Actually, my fantasy shelf is my most colorful shelf, so maybe not, but I greatly enjoyed the black cover over, I think the original cover is like this exact same, but white instead of black, and I just enjoyed this one more. So that was the last book that I've purchased new. The next couple of books are actually all nonfiction. My library recently went through and weeded the shelves of their nonfiction collection so that they could make room for newer books. So these were all books that people just were not checking out, and I'm quite excited about them because they're all in very great condition, so I'm excited to read them. But the first one is Doing Harm by Maya Dusenbury, and this is the truth about how bad medicine and lazy science leave women dismissed, misdiagnosed, and sick. I saw Books with Emily Fox talking about this one, and I thought the subject matter was just fascinating. My partner does work in like the science, medicine, medical sort of field, or rather is getting a PhD in that, but you know, it is very important to not be anti-science. Obviously, science is great, medicine is great, modern medicine is great, but it is very important to also notice the limitations and the biases, especially in research and research studies, and the kind of people that are being listened to. Because obviously doctors, you know, wonderful people, but like any profession, there can be some bad ones. There's also human bias. So I'm very interested in this. So Maya Dusenbury brings together scientific and sociological research, interviews with doctors and researchers, and personal stories from women across the country to provide the first comprehensive, accessible look about how sexism in medicine harms women today. So very interested to read this. I feel like it's going to be a very interesting read. Next up, we have Elizabeth Renaissance Prince by Lisa Hilton. Yeah, what the title suggests, it's nonfiction. I am not a real life fan of the monarchy, but I am very interested in reading about the historical monarchy. So yeah, that's this, and then the other two are very similar as well. These two are both by Alison Weir, which is actually an author, a nonfiction author, that I have heard about prior to picking these books up, so interesting to check them out. The first one is Mary Queen of Scots and the Murder of Lord Darnley. So what the title suggests, Mary Queen of Scots. Again, just a very interesting period of history, I feel like, to read about. So there's this one. And then this next one is Elizabeth of York, a Tudor Queen and Her World. And yeah, another interesting character in history. And I did recently, last year, at the end of last year, read a lot of Philippa Gregory. Just historical fiction was something that was very comforting in the winter to me. So I'd be interested in reading just some nonfiction about that period because I was very enthralled by the fiction. So yeah, very excited to pick up these nonfictions. I do try and read at least one nonfiction a month, so I'd love to get to all of these by the end of the year, but we'll see. And then the last couple all were bought on Pango Books. So the first one, Stephen King's The Dark Half. I have read this one and I do really enjoy it. It is about an author who has a pen name who he tries to kill off and decides not to write anymore under that pen name, and then he realizes that his pen name might have come to life and is stalking him. So this is very interesting. I'm trying to collect secondhand every single Stephen King book, so yeah, just another one to add to my collection. The next two are also Stephen King books. I have not read either of these. Just After Sunset, this is a collection of short stories. That's all I know about it. Not sure if there's a theme to the stories or not. And then Gerald's Game, which has a Netflix adaptation that I would be interested in watching, but I do want to read the book first. So yeah, these two I have not read, but I'm excited to have so I can read them eventually. And then last but not least, one more nonfiction book that I bought off Pango Books, and that would be Save the Cat Writes a Novel by Jessica Brody. I really enjoy writing. I think it would be really fun to eventually publish a book one day, and I have heard great things about Save the Cat Writes a Novel. And it is basically just like talking about the different types of stories and like the story beats in each type of story. I think there's like 8 main types of storytelling that really encompass every single story ever told, I believe. So yeah, looking forward to reading this one. Hopefully it will be very, very helpful in potentially maybe writing a story of my own one day. So that is the last book in my book haul. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up, leave a comment down below, subscribe to my channel for more content from me. Stay safe, stay spooky, and I will see y'all in the next one. Bye!